The irony of those protests is you had groups of people getting together to speak out against a Supreme Court decision that protected the right of people to get together and speak out.
Moments ago, the Federal Election Commission made their ruling. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to say, we won! I am a super PAC, and so can you!
If you've been following the 2012 presidential campaign, there's a good chance you've heard something in the news about super PACs. But you may be wondering, what exactly is a super PAC? Well, at their most basic level, super PACs are just groups of individuals who pool their money to spend on political speech. They don't give any money directly to political candidates. Instead, they spend their money speaking directly to American voters. Some people are very upset about the rise of super PACs because they associate them with the Supreme Court's ruling in Citizens United. And we saw this most recently with the Occupy the Courts protests marking the 2-year anniversary of that decision. Now, the irony of those protests is you had groups of people getting together to speak out against a Supreme Court decision that protected the right of people to get together and speak out. But regardless of what you think of Citizens United, it's only indirectly related to the rise of super PACs. For that, we have to look to a different court decision called SpeechNow.org. SpeechNow was a group of people who wanted to pool money to run ads for or against candidates based on their position on the First Amendment. Now, the Supreme Court has held for over 35 years that an individual acting alone can spend an unlimited amount of their own money on these kinds of ads. But under federal law, if 2 or more people get together, they were limited to putting in $5,000 apiece. So this meant that Bill Gates could spend $1 billion on ads saying vote for or vote against a candidate. But if you got together with your neighbors, you'd be limited to spending $10,000 total. If one person can do it, why not 2 or more? The First Amendment, after all, protects both the right to speak and the right to associate. So the Institute for Justice and the Center for Competitive Politics represented SpeechNow in a lawsuit to strike down this prohibition. SpeechNow won, and the government changed the rules to allow for the creation of super PACs, which are really just doing the same thing that wealthy individuals have been allowed to do for decades. There's no way to say for sure what effect super PACs are going to have on the 2012 election, but we do know that groups are going to have an easier time getting their message out to voters. And ultimately, that's what really matters. All super PACs can try to do is persuade voters, but voters are the ones who decide who's going to be elected in this country. So the real question raised by super PACs is, are voters going to be allowed to decide for themselves which messages they want to consider before they cast their ballot, or is the government going to decide that for them?